Hi friends, my name is Mia and this is my virtual vanity, a place where we both love makeup and are quite critical of it, and I'm back after long months of taking a break, reassessing, taking some time for myself. Today is the day that I truly return to the wild, wild lands of YouTube. And I'm returning with an aesthetic-inspired Shop My Stash. In case you're new to my channel, an aesthetic-inspired Shop My Stash is basically me going through my collection and trying to find things that fit a certain aesthetic. I've done dark academia, light academia, cyberpunk, and today we are doing fairy core aesthetic. I'm very excited. I also had to rein in what I wanted to put into this video, because if I put every single duochrome that I have in sparkly shifty shade, would be here all day. Without further ado, let's get started. I am first going to start with face products, since they are a small category in this Shop My Stash. When I'm thinking fairy, for the base I'm thinking minimal base, fresh skin, rosy flushed cheeks, but nothing too obvious. And also sparkly, shifty, shimmery highlighters. You could go the more natural, fairy, dryad, nymph type of route and have things be more subtle, but I'm not that kind of person today. I want sparkly, shifty things that are fit for a Seelie or unseelie court queen, depending on, what side of the fence you're on regarding how fairies are. Let's start with highlights. So I've got 4 highlighters over here, and I'm going to start with the most subtle, and that is the Neve Cosmetics highlighter. This one is in Glass Glow. This is a satin formula with a duochrome shift, a translucent base, and then this warm to cold pink duochrome shift that I hope the camera is picking up. This is a beautiful formula, and I think is perfect for someone that wants to try a duochrome highlighter without committing to looking like you just stepped out of a fairy ring and are ready to kidnap a mortal for their immortal soul. For a sparklier, colder shade, maybe you want to be a winter fairy. Maybe you want to look both beautiful and terrible as the dawn. I mean, that's elven, but it's an aesthetic to aspire to. This is the Zeesea H05 highlighter, and I love the imprint on this. Love it, love it, love it. This is quite icy cold and quite sparkly. For me, this would be a going out highlighter or a night date highlighter. I think the camera makes it look much smoother than it is, and it is beautiful swatch, but when you put it on the lids, there is a distinct flurry of sparkle and glitter that makes you look cold, unapproachable, and whimsical. I love it. Next, we have the Kaleidos highlighter in Star Surfer and Skywalker. So here is Star Surfer, here is Skywalker. Both are quite glittery, like someone just threw stars on your cheeks. They're lovely. It depends on your aesthetic if they're day-to-day highlighters or not. For me, these are special occasion highlighters, basically because they are quite magical and stunning. I also love using them on the lids as singles. I think these are multi-purpose, beautiful, and I like that they've got this sheer base so you can layer them with something else. These remind me a bit of fairy wings and the translucency, the sparkly translucency that some fairy wings have in the way that they're depicted in media. For cheeks, I'm thinking something creamy, something easy to blend, something that melts into your skin and looks like is one with your skin, and 2 formulas. I say formula as if I have multiple shades in each, but 2 blushes that I like the most for this kind of look are the Glowish Blush, and this is the peachy shade in 01 Healthy Peach, very original name, and Fenty in Petal Poppin'. These I like applying both with my fingers and with a stippled brush. Healthy Peach also looks good if you use like a proper blush brush. I feel this is more cream to powder. It feels drier, while this one is a proper cream. I've been really enjoying swatching things on the pads of my palms because it really, I think it looks more like it would look on a cheek than if you swatch it like right in your hands. So as you can see, Petal Poppin' is pinkish, luminous, very girly, reminds me of Barbie Fairytopia. Grew up with those movies. God damn, like the Barbie movies just hit different, you know. And then this is Healthy Peach. Like this one, as you can see, is a much more subtle flush on my skin than the Petal Poppin', but they're both very beautiful. And they kind of look like, oh, these are my natural cheeks. I'm naturally that rosy. It's not like I'm using supernatural magics to keep myself this youthful, and it's not like I will kidnap you into the fairy realm and force you to have a snack and be mine forever. It's just makeup, you know. Lip stuff. I've done a culling of all of my lip products, and I didn't have that much to choose from that would fit the bill that I wanted for this. Basically duochrome, sparkly, shifty, translucent, gossamer-like. These two though I think fit what I had in mind. So we've got the Kiko Milano Hydra Lip Gloss in 36, which is a beautiful pink duochrome. Looks absolutely stunning on the lips, and this is my favorite lip gloss formula. Unfortunately, with the passing of time, I had to like declutter a bunch of colors from this line, which makes me very sad. And I'm focusing on finishing other stuff before repurchasing, which again makes me very sad because I love it. I don't know how well you can see the shift and the sparkle, but on the lips, just this pink sparkle, very, very pretty. Take a shot every time I say sparkle if you wanna, you know, go on a drunk adventure, step into a fairy circle or a mushroom ring and never return. We also have this H&M gloss, and this is a shift to a more warm pink, and this is the shade Tiny Spark. See? Beautiful shine, love it. This one is also very hydrating, but I still like the Kiko one more. I feel that Kiko is a thinner formula. Okay, let's talk serious business, and that is eyeshadow, because this is probably what everyone's waiting for. As you can see, I've got a lot of things to talk about here, and it was quite hard to limit myself because I didn't want to like showcase my whole collection. I'm a big fan of sparkly, shifty, duochrome, shimmery, gossamery, translucent shades, and I've got a bunch of those, so I kind of had to limit myself. And the limitations that I put were, it has to be a duochrome, preferably, and it has to be more of a sparkly topper than a proper shifty shade. Because when I think fairies, I think multi-dimensional beauty, I think things that don't appear as they seem at first glance. Like, you would look at them directly and you see this beautiful creature, you look at them from the corner of your eye and then you see this horrifically beautiful abomination. Like, that is kind of how I see fairies. No disrespect to fairies, please don't kidnap me. I quite like my life at the current moment. Unless you've got a fae prince that you want to marry off, then, you know, I volunteer. I can sacrifice myself for the greater good. We'll start with something that has been discontinued, but you might find inspiration in this if you still have it in your collection, and this is the Huda Beauty Neon Green, which I really enjoyed. People dunked on this because they were expecting full pigment. Meanwhile, I bought it specifically because it's sheer. I really enjoyed the sheer, translucent quality of the shimmers in this and the pastel, buildable quality of the mattes. I think this is a beautiful palette. I feel this is very spring fae-like, if you would, maybe going into summer a bit. Really, really enjoy this. This is a little custom palette that has multiple singles. Bottom row is Bernovic, first row is Divina. This is an empty glam shop palette. I've yet to customize this. I'll probably put some stickers on it eventually, but I feel that these are very useful and just the perfect size. I'm gonna put the shade names on the screen because I can't remember all of them now, and I can't find the needle that I usually use to just pull out things. So these are the Divina ones, and it's like summer fairy, winter fairy, spring fairy, right? Beautiful shifts, and depending on how you apply them, you can modulate how translucent they are or not, how toppery they are or not. If you apply them with your finger and you swatch vigorously, if you put a thicker layer, they can, you know, be used as an all-over shade, and you can't tell that they have like a bit of a transparent base. If you, for example, with this blue one, if you pat it on instead of swiping, that's kind of when you can see that it's got a more transparent base, and you can use it as a topper to change everything else underneath it. Exactly that aspect of you look at it directly, you see something, you look at it through the corner of the eye and you think you're having, you know, some spiritual psychosis type of phenomena going on. And then the Bernovic, they're quite similar. I feel that the Divina are creamier and they're a bit more opaque, while the Bernovic shades here are true toppers. Again, we've got every season of fairy you could possibly want. They're quite similar to the Divina ones, except that I feel that the shift to translucency to transparency is much more pronounced. See? It goes away faster if you look at it. I don't know if I'm making sense. I hope I'm making sense. But yeah, these are quite beautiful. And I love having this palette on hand whenever I do a look that's like a shop my stash look, when I'm trying to use up some more of my neutral, boring, everyday palettes, and then I pop this in the center of the lid and I just feel like myself again. More singles. I have again a collection of singles. This is Melchior Gold Dreams. Then we have Bernovic X49. Nabla Water Dream, Colourpop Glass Bowl, and this is Glam Shop Zimnochepli. It's actually pronounced Zimnochepwa. That fancy strike through L is pronounced like the W in wet. Usually I Google these things, but I have to admit that that shadow name took me by surprise. So apologies to anyone that is Polish and had to listen to me finagle that pronunciation. So let's talk about a bit about each shade and why I think they're all quite fairy-like. Golden Dreams is very shifty and has a warm base. So if you've got a skin tone that is similar to mine or even warmer than mine, when you put this on the lids in a sheer, what's the word in English, layer, it looks like your lids naturally shift that color, like there's a luminescence, an iridescence to your skin. That's very beautiful. The Bernovic is quite the same. Again, it's got that sheer base, and if you put it all over the lids, it feels a bit too thick to be a topper, at least this shade. But if you put it all over the lids, it looks like your lids naturally shimmer and sparkle like a precious gemstone. Nabla Water Dream, I've talked quite a lot about it. It's got a warm, translucent, I'm starting to hate this word, I'm using it way too much, I don't know a synonym for it, base, and it's very sparkly and it's got like a wet sheen to the eyes, so you look very magical, enchanting, but quite natural at the same time. ColourPop Glass Bowl has the same property as Golden Dreams in that it has a warm base, so if you've got, you know, my skin tone, a bit warmer, even a bit deeper than mine, it would still look like your lids naturally shift that color. And this one I feel looks a bit magical, a bit mysterious. If you do like a smoky eye with this center lid and then black in the outer V, and that's a look idea I wanna do right now, post on Instagram later, I feel this is, I think this would look very Unseelie Court fairy-like. The Glam Shop shade looks quite thick, but if you sheer it out, if you mix it around, it's got again that warm base with a purple shift, and it's just a kaleidoscope of beauty on your lids, and they look naturally that duochromy. Gorgeous. We also have MUA H Dreamland Cream Eyeshadow, and I got this from the Coupio store. This is so beautiful and multi-dimensional. It's similar to Glass Bowl, I feel, in that it's got that warm base to a blue shift, but this is more multi-dimensional, has different color sparkles and shifts in it, and looks a bit more magical, a bit more unearthly. Last but not least, let's put the lid on this. Last but not least, Pupa Vamp shade 201 is similar to Water Dream in that it's a very sparkly, beautiful topper, but I feel this is icier. This is a snowstorm winter fairy waiting to happen. It's very sparkly, very shifty, wet looking on the lids, quite striking. I really, really love this. Another glittery thing that I really enjoy is the Jewel Potten Glitter Liner. And this is from McQueen, which is an Asian brand, I think. I like putting this on my lower eyelid, smack in the center, and it looks like my lid is a bit wet. But not in I've been crying way, more in a putting all of the attention on my pupil kind of way. It's really pretty, and I think Asian brands have a lot of this type of thing, but for my purposes I either use this or I use an eyeliner that's shimmery and very light, and just does the trick quite beautifully. See, it's just like it's like a little bit of fairy dust. More Glam Shop. This is the Niezapominajka palette, which translates to Forget Me Not, whose pronunciation I probably fangled. This is very beautiful. This and the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz, I feel like are very Barbie Fairytopia, like very femme, girly type of fairy aesthetics. Something that I've discovered with Glam Shop over the 2 years that I've had multiple of their things is that I really like their shimmers. Their mattes not so much. They're fine, they're just a bit powdery, and something happens with my skin pH. Some of them end up changing color, like the mattes. Otherwise, I really like this palette, and the shimmers are stunning, beyond stunning. And again, they've got like that beautiful property of iridescence. Like when you pat them in, again, they've got that beautiful translucency that lends very well to a complex, multi-dimensional, multi-shifty look. Like, look at this and tell me this is not a sea of magic. It's just so beautiful. And then the mattes, it's quite interesting, like quite interesting color story. I really like it. But as I said, with this particular formula of mattes, I don't know, something happens. I'm not entirely happy with them. Last but not least, something a little bit more mainstream. This is the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz. This is one of my favorite palettes lately. You can't tell because I'm quite light-handed, and it's got some more ground to earth shades. And then you pass the fairy wall in the middle and you've got all of these magical shades over here. For example, Blissful is very beautiful, both like put intensely on the lid as a lid shade and as a semi topper. Cosmic Love is very unseelie court, dark fade, trickster aesthetic. Moon Magic, beautiful shade. Joy again is very beautiful. Like, I'm swatching them like this so you can truly see the shifty values of them and how they can be sheared out or not, because I feel like I've discovered as I've been playing more with my collection that sometimes the, you know, swipey swatches, they aren't quite true to life. Lovestone, I've talked about this. I don't even remember if I made a review of this or not. But if I didn't, basically this shade for me is useless. It creases, it picks up all of the other shades. I'm too lazy to like repot something different in it. But, you know, one dot out of an entire palette, I'm not that mad at it. The mattes are beautiful. I always get along very well with Huda Beauty's formula, and it's one of my favorite Sephora formulas, so I do have a bias here. This is it. This is my collection of fairy-like shades, or at least this is my view of how fairy makeup would look like, something that embodies the aesthetic of beautiful, magical, unearthly, a little bit unsettling, multifaceted, multidimensional. I really like fairy stories, both the modern interpretation as well as the more traditional fairy tale-like portrayals. I feel that there was like a huge young adult or new adult book trend with fairy and fairy princes, so now there's a bit of a stereotype of being stolen away by a handsome morally gray fairy prince or something, and I entirely blame Sarah J. Maas for it. Anyway, this has been it. Please share with me in the comments what your favorite fairy-like makeup is in your collection. Thank you so much for watching. It's good to be back. See you guys next time. Bye.